Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere and earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. Ever since we discovered Spotify for Podcasters, we have had so much fun trying out all of the features like Q&As and polls that let us be really creative and engage with our audience. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Podcast Royal. We are so happy you're here. This has been a dream of Jessica and mine for so long. We've been talking about this for months, haven't we?
Yes, I would say, what was it, the early part of COVID that we kind of had this idea spark?
And we're recording this on November 14th, so I would not classify this as the early part of COVID anymore. We have been at this for like 8 months and no end in sight. So here we are in Jessica's closet. Thankfully, it's a walk-in. We are recording on a card table, and we're doing this because we love the royal family. So let's set the expectation right off the bat. This is not going to be a perfect podcast with all the bells and whistles, at least not yet. We are doing this because this is our hobby. We do have good content to share, but if you're expecting the most perfectly produced podcasts, you're in the wrong place. But you are going to find two friends who are friends in real life, who are a bit of a royal expert and a definite lifestyle expert in Jessica. And we are just going to have some fun. So join us on this journey.
Yeah, we want this to be just a fun chat for you guys. We want it to feel like you're our friends too. And we are talking with you about a mutual love of the royal family and lifestyle content.
Absolutely. And this is not your average royal podcast, because yes, we are going to cover royal news. Yes, we are going to cover this day in royal history. Yes, we are going to cover all of those things, but we're also going to have a segment with Jessica where we let you take back to your life some ways that Kate, Meghan, and the other women of the royal family make their life a little easier. So we're really happy that you're here. We've got a lot to talk about today, but first, I think we should tell our listeners a little bit about ourselves and kind of where the idea originated from. So Jessica and I have been friends for about 3 years, and we are based in Birmingham, not obviously, if you can't tell by our voices, not the one in the UK, but the one in Alabama. So I am originally from the great state of Kansas, and Jessica is from Georgia. And we both found ourselves in the Junior League of Birmingham, which sounds so very Southern of us. We struck up a friendship over a shared love of the royal family, and we decided to take that love to the airwaves. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my origin story with the royal family. So I fell in love with the royal family from birth. My mom, hi mom, I love you, I know you're listening, was always a huge fan of Diana's. And I grew up with a massive crush on William and dreamed of being an American Duchess, which of course did happen, just not to me. That would be Meghan. I would occasionally post long thoughts about the royal family on Facebook, and one of my Facebook friends suggested that I start a blog about the family. So in May 2019, about a week after Archie was born, I did, and it's called the Duchess Commentary, and it's still active, though I have been busy with other things and haven't really given it the attention that it's deserved. Plus, we've also had kind of a weird situation in 2020, to say the least, what with Harry and Meghan now in the United States, and the fact that Kate and William are doing very limited engagements in person, as well as, of course, the Queen and the rest of the family. Since then, I've developed a freelance writing career, mostly covering the royals. I'm now the editor at What Meghan Wore, and I've written about the family for outlets like Elle, Glamour, InStyle, and I've interviewed that I just can't even still believe that I'm saying this out loud. It sounds like I'm talking about someone else's life, but I've interviewed royal experts like Katie Nicholl, Victoria Arbiter, Robert Lacey, Elizabeth Holmes, Rachel Bowie, and Roberta Ferrito, which I hope I pronounced your last name right, Roberta, from Pure Wow and the Royally Obsessed podcast, our sister royal podcast. Hopefully all of them will come on Podcast Royal at some point. The invitation is always open. And yeah, so that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah,
so tell us about you.
That's awesome, Rachel. I definitely consider you a royal expert. I'll tell you a little bit about me. I am Jessica, also a royal lover, although I wouldn't say it's been a lifelong obsession. I definitely recall knowing about the royal family growing up, and if we're going to talk about crushing on princes, I also had a huge crush, but it was on Harry in my childhood.
Yeah, I don't even know if I knew that.
Yeah, I thought he was so cute, like many girls in my generation. But my interest in the BRF really sparked when William and Kate became engaged. Also, like a lot of girls in our generation. So, side note, fun fact about me, I am actually half British. My mom, or mum as they say in the UK, is from England. So I've definitely grown up with a lifelong obsession of all things British. So we can include the royal family in that. Yeah. So like millions of royal watchers around the world, I tuned in when Will and Kate got engaged, and I was glued to the TV the day of their wedding. And it was exactly what a royal wedding should be, in my opinion. It was stunning. It was beautiful. It was everything royal. And since then, I've really grown increasingly fond of the family, and I enjoy chatting about their lives and the work that they do. And I really just love imagining what their personal lives are like behind the scenes. So professionally, I work in a communications role, but in my personal life, I do have a little Instagram account that I play around with occasionally, where I focus on clean eating and clean beauty, and we'll share, food I find or different cosmetic products that I come across. So I imagine I'll share a little bit of that here and on our Instagram page, Podcast Royal. As you know, we come across things that kind of fall in line to what we're talking about here. I'll share some stuff along the way. So that's a little bit about me. And why don't we go ahead and jump right into the content for today?
Let's do it. Enough about us. Let's hop right on into our first segment. We're calling this segment What We're Into. So it's November 14th, 2020, and in the US and across Europe as well, COVID cases are ramping back up again. I feel like we are approaching an inevitable second wave. I hate that, but hopefully there will be a vaccine before too long. And I have a feeling that we're going to continue to be stuck in our homes and maybe bored. At this point, I have exhausted my Netflix, my Hulu, I've desperation signed up for HBO Max, Showtime. But don't worry, we've got your back. So here is our ultimate royal entertainment guide for your quarantine. And no need to take notes. We're about to drop a lot of entertainment knowledge on you. We're going to put all of these suggestions in the show notes, so you don't need to scurry and take notes on everything that we're saying. So there really are enough royal family related books and TV shows, movies, documentaries, podcasts, including, of course, your favorite royal podcast, Podcast Royal, to get you through at least a week or two.
This is quite the list, Rachel, that you put together.
Well, it's out of desperation and necessity, because I really am being pretty strict about quarantining and COVID. So stay home, cozy up, and enjoy our favorite royal family related entertainment. So we're going to start. So I'm a big reader. You all will definitely find that out about me. I am a voracious reader. And so with that said, let's start with books, magazines, a cookbook, and a blog. So if you're a big reader like me, you need a stack of books at your bedside at all times. I tear through books, and there are no books I tear through faster than royal books. So I feel like over the course of my life, I've read about, if I haven't read every royal book ever published. I'm close. So here are my all-time favorites over a lifetime of research. So Tina Brown, former editor-in-chief at Vanity Fair. So interesting. She wrote a great book about Diana called The Diana Chronicles. It's juicy. It's just so good. And then speaking of juicy, Kitty Kelley is an author that writes some of the juiciest biographies out there. She's covered Oprah. She's covered the Bush family, and she's covered the royals. And the book is called simply that, The Royals. And of course, we can't talk about royal books without talking about the legendary Andrew Morton. So as I've said a couple of times, we're recording this on November 14th, and tomorrow is November 15th, and that is The Crown season 4.
I know, I can't wait.
So excited.
I'm super excited.
And I might as well, I'm unreachable tomorrow. I'll be binging all 10 episodes. And so finally we've gotten to the point in the season or in the series where it's Diana and Charles time. So I don't know how far yet, because I haven't seen it, obviously, how far we're going to get in Diana and Charles' story. But in the early 1990s, Diana worked in secret with Andrew Morton to write Diana, her true story. And then Andrew Morton actually has written about Kate and Meghan as well. He wrote a book called William and Catherine, A Royal Wedding. And then most recently, Meghan, A Hollywood Princess. He is a great biographer. And so those 3 books are required royal reading. Another legendary royal author is Ingrid Seward. She actually just had another book come out in October.
She did.
About Philip. We'll mention that in a second. But some of my favorite Ingrid Seward books are The Queen and Di, not The Queen and I, The Queen and Di, D-I, like Diana. And then My Husband and I, which talks about the love story of Elizabeth and Philip. And they have quite a love story, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So Sally Bedell Smith is another really good royal author. Can you tell that I like books? I promise we're getting to the end of the list. I could really talk about books all day. I think we're probably going to end up starting a royal book club on here, and that thrills me to no end. So my favorite Sally Bedell Smith books are Elizabeth the Queen, The Life of a Modern Monarch, and Prince Charles, The Passions and Paradoxes of an Improbable Life. So I actually am getting to the point in COVID where I've gone to the library and I've read these books before and I'm checking them out again. So those 2 books that I just said are actually on my bedside table right now as we speak. So I will be reading those right along with you. Another good book that's different and very interesting is by Craig Brown, and it's called 99 Glimpses of Princess Margaret. So it tells Princess Margaret, for those that might not know, is the Queen's sister. It's her younger sister. She's 4 years younger than her. And she really was the personality of the 2. The Queen is more reserved, very proper, and Margaret was vivacious. And just, I mean, if you've watched The Crown, you've seen glimpses of that. And so this book is broken down into 99 smaller chapters of Princess Margaret's life and what a life she lived. She passed away in 2002, and the Queen was absolutely devastated. And unfortunately, not only did Margaret pass away, but I think within 6 weeks of one another, her mom died as well. So We'll talk about this. That's a lot. We'll talk about this, but the Queen grew up in a very close family of her father, her mother, and her sister, and to lose 2 of the 3 of them within such a short time of each other was devastating for her. So that's a good book, 99 Glimpses of Princess Margaret. Anything by Katie Nicholl. I've got to shout out Katie Nicholl for a second. When I was just starting the Duchess commentary and didn't have a credit to my name, I was so early on in my royal writing career, Katie Nicholl granted me an interview, and it remains, and that's on the Duchess commentary. You can go to www.theduchesscommentary.com and read it if you want to. And she was so kind to me. Thank you, Katie. I'll never forget that kindness. I hope to have that kindness shown to women that come behind me. Anything by Katie Nicholl is good. She's got a handful of books, maybe 5, 6 books. and Christopher Anderson is a great royal author as well. So books.
Well, I am so glad you put that list together, because I will admit, I do not find quite as much time to read as I would like.
I don't think many people do.
I've got a lot to choose from here, because I have not actually read any of these titles. So,
you got titles.
I definitely see a few on here that stick out to me. I know Ingrid Seward is very interesting. I've heard a few interviews with her, and I would love to read more about Princess Diana and interviews that she's done.
Start with the Diana Chronicles.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, you're gonna breeze through it. That is a juicy read. So, I realize and recognize that not everybody reads like I do. So, if you're more of a magazine person, I think that Vanity Fair and Town and Country are the top of the heap as far as royal coverage. Of course, I love Elle and In Style and Glamour and other magazines that I write for. I have not yet written for Vanity Fair and Town and Country, but my gosh, I'd love to. And so those magazines, you can access them online. You can access the print version, whatever suits you, but they do great coverage. So something that I have done, I've started while in COVID, you know that we're reaching the bottom of the barrel here when I have turned to cooking to stay entertained. Look, I make one thing really well, and that is a reservation. And but I actually have started cooking because it has gotten to that point of boredom in quarantine. So I don't actually have this cookbook. I need to get it. Mom, I know you're listening. I know Christmas is coming up, but Meghan has a cookbook called Together, our community cookbook. If you cook anything from there, you can DM me and bring the food over to my house because I'm running low.
Yeah, I feel like this would be a really great quarantine book club book.
I know, right?
It's not really a read, but I would love to hear people's favorite recipes out of this. And I heard recently, about this book, and I have not actually flipped through it myself, but I'd be very interested to see what recipes are in there, because cooking is actually a huge hobby of mine.
Jessica is definitely the cook of the two of us. She is the lifestyle queen, and I am a novice, but I am getting better every day because I've had 8 months to practice. So I'm a writer, Jessica's a writer, but also Meghan is a writer, and I think she still probably does some writing even still. But if you remember, she had a very popular blog called The Tig. And there is a function called the Wayback Machine that you can actually access all of Meghan's TIG posts from back in the day. So I sometimes catch myself getting on the TIG and reading. Meghan's really inspirational, and she is a good writer, and she's got some really good posts on there. So just do a little Googling and you can find it, and especially if you get on the Wayback Machine. Of course, you could always read the Duchess commentary, or you could get on, I think, the best royal fashion site of all time, What Meghan Wore. I might be a little biased, but there's been 3 books released recently that you've got to check out. So if you hear nothing else from this segment about what to read, check out these books. First of all, again, we're recording on the 14th, but on the 17th, so in 3 days, Elizabeth Holmes's HRH, So Many Thoughts on Royal Style comes out. I was so mad at myself because we're over here at Jessica's, and I had every intention to bring Jessica my copy of HRH, which I breezed through in a night, but I forgot it on my coffee table. So promised her next time I come over.
So yeah, I've seen the cover of this book, and I've heard Elizabeth Holmes talk about it.
Beautiful.
I will say it's definitely one that I want to take a peek into. I think the photos are probably stunning. And I feel like this is a really great Christmas gift idea.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what
for any royal
girl
lover.
or fashion lover wouldn't love to have this book?
No, seriously. If you are listening to this and have someone in your life that you love and care about, and you're going to shop for a gift for them, whether it's their birthday or Christmas or what, get them HRH, So Many Thoughts on Royal Style. First of all, Elizabeth Holmes is an expert on the royal family, and the book is beautiful from the cover to the color to the photo she chose. It's so good.
And it's a nice coffee table book too, I feel like.
It's on my coffee table right now.
You did mention that. Yeah, just to have that out and flip through and guess her over. Yeah, I can't wait to dig into that one.
And I can't wait to hear what your favorite look from that book is. So if you do have HRH, which I don't know if you do because it hasn't been released yet, but when you do get your hands on a copy of it, send us a DM, send us an email at hellopodcastroyal@gmail.com and tell us what your favorite look is, and we will read it on the air. How about that?
Yeah, once the book comes out, we'll talk about our favorite looks too.
But I'll give you the book, and you can. I've been unintentionally holding out on you on that, so sorry about that. But also 2 other books. Ingrid Seward's Prince Philip Revealed, that just came out. It's her newest title. I have not yet read that, and so I'm looking forward myself to reading that. And Robert Lacey, longtime royal historian. He's the historical consultant for the Crown, so he knows his stuff. His new book, Battle of Brothers, William and Harry, the inside story of a family in tumult. Is that how you say that word?
I think so.
Tumult. Anyway, that just came out last month, and Jessica and I both read that book.
We did, yes, and I loved it. I felt like there was a lot of backstory given there on the royal family, and maybe explains a little bit more as to why things are the way they are today, and in the relationships within the royal family. And I felt like I learned some new little facts that I didn't know before.
Yeah, and thing about Robert Lacey is he does not hold back. I mean, he is very candid, and but he's also a great reporter, and so you know that it's all very factual and well reported. So
yeah, he the book is Battle of Brothers, but he digs into the relationship between Diana and Charles too, and it just kind of helps explain everyone's perspective. So
we just found out, so this news is just breaking, that a friend of Diana's said that the night before they got married, Charles told Diana he did not love her. Now that's not in the Lacey book. This just came out on separate outlets, but we're going to have to unpack that in a future episode because that's really heavy.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine, and I'd like to hear more about.
Yeah, I can't imagine
about that, but
apparently the Crown, which this is a good segue into the next part of what we're into, is TV shows. Of course, the Crown is the preeminent television show about the royal family. So season 4 drops tomorrow. Unfortunately / fortunately, I will probably finish it tomorrow. So that's not gonna last me a couple weeks. I can't stop. But
I feel like there are probably a lot of people who maybe have not seen The Crown before, but they're gonna tune in this season because
finally it's Charles.
Everyone loves Diana.
Yeah, it's and I've read that they're not going to show the wedding. But what I do know is apparently, according to the outlets, that Charles said that the night before their wedding, which, my gosh, can you think of a more awful situation, especially being, like a couple weeks into your 20th year of life. I mean, I'm 34 and I feel like I'm more mature than I was at 20. I can't even imagine going through that at 20, let alone having that bombshell dropped on you. I'm really excited to see Emma Corrin play Diana. She looks so much like her.
She does.
In some of the shots I've seen, the trailers.
And I'll be interested how they portray the relationship of Charles and Diana. And, I mean, we have to remember it's the Crown, so it's not, it's part entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a historical aspect there,
right.
But there's also a theatrical element there too. And I think that's probably the hardest part of watching that show is deciphering between
what's real and what's not. And
we're
going to help you in episode 2 break it down. What's fact, what's fiction. As Jessica said, it's mostly based in fact. Thank you, Robert Lacey, historical consultant, but there, of course, it's Hollywood at the end of the day. So let's move into movies. So The Queen. Oh my gosh. Have you seen The Queen?
I have not.
Okay. We're going to do a wine night and get some to go and watch The Queen.
Is this on Netflix?
It was on Netflix at one point. I don't know if it still is, but this is Helen Mirren playing the Queen. She, I believe, now I don't know that, somebody fact check me on this. I'm pretty sure she won the Oscar for this. This was in 2006 that this movie came out, so it's been out for a while. She nails it. She is such a good Elizabeth. That makes me want to watch this movie right now. It's a wonderful movie, and the premise of this movie is right after Diana passed away in August of 1997, late August 31st. The Queen, it shadows the Queen's decision making between Diana's death and her funeral on September 6th, which was a week later. Do you remember Diana's death?
Yes,
we were young.
Absolutely.
I was only 10.
Yeah, me too. But I absolutely remember that time and that moment, and it was just, I mean, it's like just a moment in history. I think if you were alive at that time, you'll always remember.
Yeah, I can remember my mom and I were in San Antonio, Texas, actually, of all places, and we were staying in a hotel room. And I told you earlier in this episode that my mom is such a diehard Diana lover. And that's how I got into the family. And so I remember going to sleep that night to the news. I was only 10. So going to sleep in the hotel to the news that there had been an accident. But the original reports, if you'll remember, said that Diana was injured, but not severely. And so I went to sleep. And then I woke up. My mom didn't go to sleep. She stayed up all through the night watching the news coverage. And then, of course, Diana passed away, and it was devastating. So anyway, The Queen, watch it. Also, The King's Speech, so good. This movie is about Elizabeth's father, whose real name was Albert, but on the throne he was King George VI. Elizabeth absolutely adored and idolized her father, and that he had a stutter. And so we could talk about this forever. I won't get into it, but he was not supposed to be the monarch. His older brother was. And so we'll unpack that for those that might not follow the royals as closely as we do. But anyway, he wasn't supposed to be the monarch. He became the monarch. He had a stutter. Of course, as the monarch, you have to give speeches. And so this movie goes through the process of him working through that. So also a great movie. Now, another movie to watch is called Diana. Naomi Watts plays her. This movie is not on, I'm just going to be brutally honest with you, it's not on par with the other two. It didn't win any Oscars. I don't even know if it made it to theaters. It might have been direct to DVD. But it's not terrible. I mean, it's definitely worth a watch. And it talks about Diana. I will watch anything with the word Diana on it.
Right.
And so it talks about her in the latter part of her life. So anyway, movies. Okay, so I'm going to breeze through these documentaries. Diana in Her Own Words on Netflix. Diana 7 Days That Shook the World on Netflix. The boys, William and Harry, did a great documentary about their mom called Diana, Our Mother, Her Life and Legacy. It's on HBO. I have not actually watched this next one. Meghan did the voiceover work for Elephant on Disney Plus.
I have not seen that one either. No.
Yeah. Elizabeth at 90, a family tribute on Netflix. Queen of the World on HBO. I might watch that tonight, actually. That's really good. Royal House of Windsor on Netflix, and then The Royals on Amazon Prime. Again, please don't try to take notes on this. We'll provide all of this in the show notes. And finally, podcasts. I love this podcast called Even the Rich. I am a Richie, as they call the fans of this show. It's like this show takes all of my favorite pop culture moments, like Diana and Meghan and Versace and Jay-Z and Beyonce and Britney Spears and the Kennedys. I'm not even kidding. Like, these are all of my favorite things, and it puts it on a podcast. So anyway, the first season of Even the Rich is about Diana and Meghan. So take a listen to that. We love supporting our fellow podcasters. This is not always an easy journey. So we love our fellow podcasters.
Absolutely.
So Fatal Voyage is another good podcast. Season 2 is about Diana's car crash. And if you want to hear Kate's first podcast, and to my knowledge, her only podcast, she appeared on an episode of Happy Mum, Happy Baby, and she was adorable. So you can just type in Duchess of Cambridge on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
I love anytime Kate pops in, whether it's
Her
on Instagram.
voice.
Okay, that was what I was going to say. She has the most beautiful speaking voice.
So elegant.
It is elegant. It is just, calm and smooth, and she's just so classy.
Refined. Refined. I can't. Obviously, what I am not. She is refined and elegant, and I we don't. COVID is terrible, and I'm never going to say otherwise. But it has allowed us to hear Kate's voice so much more, because when she goes to these appearances, we see photos of her, but we don't hear her speaking.
Yeah, I thought that too.
And now she's on Zoom, and we get to hear this, and it's so great.
We see a lot more of her personality, and I love it.
I love it. Also, final podcast when Meghan met Harry. Cute, quick listen. And if all else fails, you can just do what I do and watch royal weddings on YouTube. That'll get you, that'll kill 2 or 3 hours. I did that recently and wrote a post on the Duchess commentary about it. If you're really bored, get BritBox. My mom has BritBox. There's enough royal content there for you to watch literally for the rest of your life. So it'll definitely take you through quarantine. Okay. Any final thoughts on quarantine?
I mean, you have really you've got
us
set. I mean, if quarantine lasts throughout 2021, which let's hope it doesn't, I don't know.
No.
I don't know that we'll run out of content to consume with this list. So outstanding job, Rachel.
Thank you. Well, we're trying to have your back here. So, okay, now we're going to move into what we're calling the Royal Rundown, which is our segment on the royal news of the week. Okay, so first things first, plans for the Queen's upcoming platinum, which is crazy, Jubilee were announced this week for 2022, marking 70 years on the throne.
That is incredible.
For Her Majesty, the longest reigning monarch in British history. They will celebrate over in the UK. We need to find a way to get there.
I literally had this thought, I think it was last night. I was like, we can go to London in 2022.
I mean, now, then I might be able to swing that. But it's going to be from June 2nd to 5th of 2022. It's a 4-day weekend for the British public. The Queen declared Friday the 2nd and Monday the 5th bank holiday. So enjoy your 4-day weekend, our British friends. Though technically she became Queen in February 1952 after her father's death, which I've always found so hard, because you've been waiting for this role your whole life, but it requires the death of your parents.
I know, it's such it's a moment we can't relate to. You've waited your whole life for this, right? But it's a tragic moment at the same time.
Yeah, it's like I think
it's creating an anniversary that is
so
has an element of sadness.
Oh yeah, as I said before, the Queen was extraordinarily close to her father, and her father died unexpectedly. So this actually fun, well, it's not fun at all actually, but the Queen and Philip were away and her father died unexpectedly. She didn't even have any black mourning clothes.
Right.
So now whenever royals travel, they always have to pack black mourning clothes because of this. So there's a fact for you. But anyway, on that day in February 6th, the Queen spends that day alone in quiet reflection. So that if you're wondering why do they do the Jubilee in June, first of all, London, where they will have it, is the weather's better than it is in February, right? You can imagine that. So Her Majesty likes to celebrate occasions like Trooping the Color and her Jubilee in June because of the favorable weather. And not only that, but her coronation was in June of 1953, which is a much more special day for the Queen than February 6th, which is when she became Queen. But of course, in the process of that, also unexpectedly lost her beloved father, King George VI. So I think about Charles. Today is Charles' 72nd birthday, okay? He's been in training for this role of king for 72 years today. And I'm sure that Charles is more than ready to ascend to the throne. But of course, that comes at a very high price, and that is the death of his mother. So that's such a weird juxtaposition.
Yeah, I mean, I think Charles at this point, he's been a prince for so long, and he's so familiar with, the royal duties and the things that come, and watching his mom. But I do think, I think we hope, and I certainly think he hopes that she will remain queen for as long as possible.
Well, and Philip is 99, knocking on 100's door. I just thought of this too. Philip's birthday is in June 10th, I believe. Fact check me on this, somebody. and he will be 100 years old.
I know.
So that's going to be a heck of a month for the family.
Even in his, well into his 90s, he was really still pretty active.
And he's still getting around.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of him during quarantine, which understandably
I don't blame him.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone in the royal family, we've kind of cut back on how many times we've seen them out and about, but yeah, that's incredible.
I mean, so that's going to be I just put that together. That's going to be a huge month for the family. So this is the first time a British monarch has ever celebrated a platinum jubilee. So as such, it will certainly be an event to remember. I can't wait. We're going.
Definitely worth those extra vacation days. To
Yeah.
our friends in the UK, and Rachel and I will mark our calendars, and
we'll find a way to be there. I'm putting it out in the universe right now.
We'll start shopping plane ticket prices.
There you go. So speaking of the Queen, we saw her out this week, kind of a rare occasion, honestly, and it's the first time I've seen her in a mask. She was wearing a mask to Remembrance Sunday this past Sunday, November 8th. William was there. He looked dashing in uniform. I really love the way William looks in uniform. Mm-hmm. Kate looks stunning in a military-inspired outfit that, according to what Kate wore, looks to be by Catherine Walker, which is a favorite of Kate's, though there's also been some speculation that it could be by Alexander McQueen, which, of course, as we all know, is a favorite of Kate's as well. So this year's Remembrance Sunday was very different for a number of reasons. First of all, for the first time, the event, which is held at the Cenotaph in London, was closed to the public because of COVID. The Queen typically stands on a balcony with Camilla and Kate, who of course are the Queen consorts in waiting. But this year the Queen stood with her lady-in-waiting Susan Rhodes, who has been quarantining with Her Majesty. So we know they're both healthy. Camilla and Kate stood socially distanced on a separate balcony. There were 10 royals in attendance at the event. Missing for the first time was Andrew, of course, for reasons that we'll certainly unpack later, but I don't feel like getting riled up about at the moment. And of course, Harry, who's in California. But Harry and Meghan still honored Remembrance Sunday. They made a private visit to Los Angeles National Cemetery. Meghan wore a jacket dress by Brandon Maxwell, and like the rest of the family, Harry and Meghan wore poppies to commemorate those who lost their lives in war. So if you're wondering what the red flower is on their lapels, that is it. So this week I could have won $250,000, Jessica. Joel McHale, I love you, but you needed me as your phone a friend, I guess, because Joel McHale was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire this week. The question was, for over 30 years, Queen Elizabeth II has favored what shade of nail polish by Essie? Do you know this answer?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the options were A, ballet slippers, B, ladylike, C, everything's rosy, and D, lovey-dovey. So Joel McHale did not know it. And so he decided to walk away with the $125,000 he'd already won. Every royal expert watching the show live was screaming at the TV saying the correct answer is, of course it is. It is
ballet slippers.
Everybody knows this. Joel, you should have had me as your phone a friend, and I would have asked you. All of his money was going to charity, so I wouldn't have asked him for a cut of it. But
well, if you're a hardcore royal watcher, I feel like this nail polish name comes up quite a bit.
Yeah.
We see it in magazines, and it's referenced a lot.
Yeah, and actually Meghan and Eugenie wore that shade of polish at their weddings, both in 2018. So Kate did not, actually. Kate wears it a lot now, but she did not wear it at her wedding. So The Crown season 4 drops tomorrow. I've said this like 3 times already. Can you tell I'm excited? So we'll have a full recap of it next time. More royal news. Eugenie, I've said her name wrong my whole life. I've always said it as Eugenie. I've always said, and I bet somebody out there feels the same way as me.
I almost wonder if Eugenie is really the American pronunciation, or I don't know.
Sound like a really uneducated about royals American. I've pronounced her name Eugenie for my entire life until I've been corrected recently, and it's Eugenie, I think. Somebody fact check me on this too, but she's pregnant, due in early 2021, and the name front runners for she and husband Jack Brooksbanks, I should be able to say that at least, baby, are Alice if it's a little girl, and Arthur and Henry if it's a little boy. What's your thoughts?
I like the name Alice if it is a girl. I don't know. I don't know that they would go with Henry. I wouldn't put that
Well, that's
on my
Harry's real name.
right. I mean, I wouldn't have put that at the top of my list for boys. I also wonder if they will stick with the tradition of choosing a name within the royal family, or if they'll branch out and do something different, like Archie.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder what direction they'll go there.
They have that freedom, absolutely. So Alice is the name of Eugenie's, which is still going to take me forever to get right. Her grandfather Philip's mother, Henry, as I just said, is actually Harry's real name. Harry is a nickname. And Arthur is one of William's middle names, as well as one of Charles's middle names and Louis's middle names. Arthur is actually also the name of Pippa's son, Kate's sister's son. So I don't know. Alice is kind of a new front runner. It was Victoria. So we don't have an exact due date for her, but it's early 2021. So I'm assuming that by March we'll have another little royal baby to love.
No. Do we think that they will stand out on the Lindo wing?
Ooh, that's a great question, Jessica. I don't know. I think they will.
I kind of think so too.
I feel like that's a great question.
I feel like in the past few years, Eugenie has kind of stepped out a little bit more, and we've seen her more, and she's really played a bigger royal role, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, I guess it depends on where we are with lockdowns and
true. I didn't think about that.
And quarantining, but if everything is safe, I definitely. I could see that happening.
And especially now that Harry and Meghan have stepped down as senior members of the family, I feel like it's become incumbent upon Beatrice and Eugenie to step up a little bit. So, and because Harry and Meghan chose not to do the Lindo wing, which we'll get into that on another episode, I think that's kind of a bizarre tradition, but that's for another day. I could see it happening.
Yeah.
COVID dependent, but I could see it happening. And finally, happy 72nd birthday today, November 14th, to Charles, and happy 73rd wedding anniversary on November 20th to the Queen and Philip. A lot of love in the air in November. Also this month on November 16th, this is unbelievable to me. William and Kate celebrate 10 years since they announced their engagement. My gosh, that's the 10 years.
I feel like it was yesterday. I mean, I feel like I just recall seeing the magazine covers and then check that out.
Blue wrap Issa dress, the sapphire blue that matched your sapphire and diamond ring. Oh man. And then November 27th is 3 years since Harry and Meghan announced their own engagement. So in honor of that, we're going to move into our third segment of the day, which is royal love stories. And I'm recruiting Jessica. Now, Jessica has not gotten these answers. We're going to do a pop quiz and you can play along with us.
Okay. And get ready, everybody, because I actually,
this is hard.
I may fail this quiz.
It's actually really hard.
I don't know these answers, so I will do my best.
We have not preempted Jessica with these answers. She has absolutely no idea. She's probably hating me right now because I sprung this on her.
Well, play along with us at home and see how many you get right, and DM us and let us know how you did as well.
Yeah, let us know how you did, and maybe let us know which one was the most interesting one. So okay, the segment is called Royal Love Stories. We're gonna see how well you know your royal love stories. So I'm gonna read the way each royal couple met and see if Jessica can guess the answer. So before I start, here are the options: the Queen and Philip, Charles and Diana, Charles and Camilla, William and Kate, Harry and Meghan, Anne and Mark Phillips, her first husband, they divorced, but I just found out today, I saw on the news that they got married on November 14th, which I think is weird because that's Charles's birthday, but maybe that's just me. Princess Anne has been married twice. She's still married to her second husband, Timothy Lawrence, her second and current husband. Peter and Autumn Phillips, who are in the process of getting a divorce. Peter Phillips is gorgeous, just in case you don't. Peter Phillips is by far, in my opinion, the most attractive royal grandchild, but I'm obviously sad they're getting a divorce.
And they announced that during quarantine.
Yeah, or right before. It might have been right before, but he's really good looking. if you want to see a good looking man, Google Peter Phillips. Zara and Mike Tyndall. These are Queen Anne. These are Princess Anne's kids. Andrew and Fergie, Beatrice and Edo, Eugenie and Jack, and Edward and Sophie. So a lot of couples. Okay, so here's question number one. Play along with us. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and play along.
And hopefully you do better than I do.
Well, you don't know you're going to do bad. You might know more than you think. Okay, so this couple met at the Formula One Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal. This is hard.
I was going to say this first one. I really don't have a clue on this one. So let me look here.
Look at your options. Any guesses?
I'm going to go with Anne and Timothy.
That is not correct, but this one's hard, and
yes.
I probably shouldn't have put it first. The correct answer is Peter and Autumn Phillips. They met at the Formula One Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal.
I would not have guessed that.
That's hard. Okay, this one is not as hard, I think. This couple met when he was dating her older sister. If you've watched The Crown, you know that there's a lot of cross dating that happens.
There is, yes. And I mean, I feel like I should know this, and if I get it wrong, I'm going to be super embarrassed. But I'm going to say Charles and Diana.
You got it. You got it. You got it. So Charles actually dated Diana's older sister, Sarah, before he dated her, and it didn't work out. And then there was Diana, and I guess the rest is history. So, okay, this couple met for I will give you a hint, one of the most successful modern royal couples. This couple met for the first time when he was dating her friend, and then 6 years later, so I guess that's like girl code enough time, right? 6 years later, they met again at a charity event.
Okay, let's see.
You want a hint?
I do.
This is going to give it away. So the Queen has 4 kids. This is the only first marriage of the Queen, 4 kids to survive.
It's Edward and Sophie.
Edward and Sophie. Let me tell you about Sophie. I love me some Sophie. I think she is the unsung hero of this family, and they have been married since 1999 and are a beautiful couple.
Yeah, and I feel like we don't hear a ton about them.
Right.
But yeah, they're definitely a great couple.
Sophie's a hard worker, though. I think she's one of the Queen's favorites. So, okay, you're gonna definitely get this one. I think most of our listeners will probably get this one too. The couple met as freshmen in college when they lived in the same dorm.
All right, I'm going with Will and Kate.
Will and Kate. They met at the University of St. Andrews in 2001. All right. This couple met a ski holiday in Switzerland where they were introduced by mutual friends. Now, this could be a royal couple because they all go to Switzerland a lot. So
I'm going to go on this one. I might have it wrong, but my gut is telling me Zara and Mike.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
It's Eugenie and Jack.
Really?
Yeah.
I would not have guessed
and
that.
they dated for a really long time. Like they kind of pulled a Will and Kate situation and dated for a long time before they got married.
Well, so. I know Zara is super athletic.
She is.
Thought maybe she would be the one skiing, but okay.
We'll get there in a minute. You'll see. Okay, so I say that, and now I've really confused everybody. So the next one is this. This couple met at a party for equestrians and horse enthusiasts. Now, you might get this.
So there are a few, again, several members of the royal family, I think, horses.
And are really actually accomplished equestrians.
Yeah, I mean, I could see this being a few different ones. Is it Charles and Camilla?
No, but that would make sense because Charles plays polo.
I mean,
on a horseback.
I know the Queen loves horses as well.
Loves horses.
My guess was going to be Charles and Camilla. So who?
So this is Anne, actually, and her first husband, Mark Phillips.
Yes.
Anne is a very accomplished equestrian, and so is Zara, and the Queen. I mean, they all love horses. I've never ridden a horse before.
I mean, I have sat on a saddle on a horse with someone holding the saddle. I have never galloped away.
Maybe someday.
They scare me a little bit.
I don't really have the desire. I've seen Gone with the Wind too many times. So anyway, okay. Oh my gosh, this story is so cute. This couple met at a wedding, and then they met again 3 years later. Finally, 2 years after that, he escorted her and her sister around the Royal Naval College, and sparks flew.
Is it Beatrice and Edo?
No, it's the Queen and Philip.
Really?
Yeah, and why it took
that makes sense.
Well, and why it took them so long to get together is he has, I think, 5 years on her, and so she was like a child when they met, and he was a teenager. So they had to wait it out for her to become of age.
That's right.
Let me tell you, this is a love story. Obviously, if they've made it 73 years this week, I don't think the queen is amazing at what she does, but I don't think she would be the queen she is without Philip as her backbone. So, okay, we're breezing on through. We've got what, 5 more. Okay, so this couple met as children. Lots of stories about people meeting, and then like, because I'm telling you, these circles are tight. This couple met as children, but didn't see each other romantically until they met again at a party as adults.
Okay, so I feel like I have heard this story before, and I'm kind of drawing a blank on it. So I'm going to throw this out, but I'm not confident in my answer. Is it Andrew and Fergie?
It's Andrew and Fergie.
Okay, there we go.
You nailed it. Andrew and Fergie, and they had a Harry and Meghan style courtship, really quick. Quicker, I think, actually, than Harry and Meghan. Okay, this couple moved in the same social circles and met at a house party where they bonded over her ex-boyfriend dating his sister.
Is this one Zara?
It's not. Although, this is Charles and Camilla. Andrew Parker Bowles, Camilla's ex-husband, dated Anne.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
You can remember it, listeners. CC, Charles and Camilla, and AA. Very confusing.
Yeah, that's right. And I think they actually mentioned that in Robert Lacey's book. They hit on that a little bit.
Yeah, Robert Lacey's book, by the way, is not just about William and Harry. It's about a lot of things. So there's a lot to unpack there. Okay, you're going to get this one. This couple met on a blind date set up by a mutual friend.
Yes, I do know this. It is Harry and Meghan.
Harry and Meghan. That's right. We still don't know who that mutual friend is. So, okay. 3 more. This couple met when he was working for the royal family on the royal yacht Britannia.
Okay. Is this is it Anne and Timothy?
It is. Anne and Timothy Lawrence, who is her second and current husband. If you'll remember, in 1992, so I told you the Queen has 4 children. Edward wasn't even married then. He didn't get married until 1999. In 1992, all of the Queen's children that were married separated from their spouses. Wow. And so not long after Anne and Mark Phillips' divorce, she married Timothy Lawrence, and they've been married for going on almost 30 years. So there you go. Okay. There's a lot of these stories about meeting and then re-meeting, but this couple met as children. By process of elimination, you might be able to get this easier, but this couple met as children. His parents were close friends with her parents. You want a hint?
I do.
They just got hitched.
Okay, so this is Beatrice.
This is Beatrice and Edo. I want to be in these circles where I can meet royal people and marry them.
I'm gonna go on these.
Although all the royal men are, well, I guess Peter's about to not be, but anyway, another day on that. Okay, last one. This I mean, you got it now, right? Process of elimination, but our friends at home might not. So this couple met at a rugby match in Australia. You said this person was athletic, so they did meet at an athletic event.
That's true. Yes.
So who is it?
This is Zara and Mike.
Yes. Another very cute and highly underreported couple.
I was going to say, I actually love Zara. I think she's
beautiful.
She's a favorite of mine. She's a hard worker too, I think.
She is. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. That is all for me. I'm turning the ball over to my friend Jessica to talk to us about our lifestyle component today.
Yeah, so I just tallied up my points on this quiz, and with a lot of help from Rachel, I scored, I got 7 of them right. So
7 out of 11.
Out of 11.
Not
bad. But I had some help there.
Not bad.
So when I was preparing for this segment, I tried to think of what I thought would be fun for us to talk about today. And this year has undoubtedly been the year of COVID, and we've been overwhelmed with how to stay healthy, from wearing masks to social distancing and using hand sanitizer. So in this week's segment, I couldn't help but think about, the lifestyles of the royals and how they stay healthy. And a lot of that goes into their diet and what they eat.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. That's the that's the foundation of a healthy lifestyle.
I mean, we know, when you talk about your microbiome, which is made up of all the bacteria in your body, a lot of that is stays healthy through eating a variety of healthy food.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot reported on Meghan and Kate specifically and their diets and what they look like and what they eat to maintain high energy levels and keep up their busy lifestyle. So I thought it would be fun for us to do a day in the life of a Duchess and kind of walk through from breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what their diets look like. And we can talk about it and think see if we think that's realistic for the average girl or what our favorite foods are or what our thoughts are on that. So we'll start with breakfast. Both Duchesses love green drinks. So Kate is a smoothie girl, which I love because I am also a smoothie for breakfast.
We both had smoothies today.
You did, yes. And one of my favorites is coffee and almond butter smoothies. But Kate loves her greens.
Okay.
So when she mixes up a smoothie, she packs in a ton of greens like kale, spinach, romaine. Yeah, tons of nutrients in there. But she also likes to pack in cilantro, which if you're in the UK, that's coriander. I have somewhat of an aversion to cilantro.
So I've read that like 50%, we've had this conversation, the 50% of the population, now I'm not in this 50%, I like cilantro, but the other 50% say that it tastes like soap.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how I would describe it, but that sounds right. It's just
like
awful.
It's not just awful, it's like disgusting. Like drinking, like about as appealing as like going in the bathroom and like drinking hand soap.
It's such a strong taste. When you taste it, it's like you can't get rid of it. And I think I fall into that 50%.
I like cilantro.
So once she packs in all those greens, she also follows it up with matcha and spirulina. So if you're not familiar with these, matcha is a green tea powder. The best way to describe that is it just tastes green. It's a little bit bitter, but it's got a lot of antioxidants in it, and it's got healthy caffeine. So a lot of people who drink matcha will describe it as giving them high energy levels and helping them stay focused, but not giving them the jitters that coffee gives you.
Okay. I've never tried matcha, so maybe I'll try it.
And spirulina is, it's like a blue-green algae. It kind of has a seaweed taste, but it's also considered a superfood. It's got antioxidant properties. Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely an acquired taste. I know some people that drink green smoothies just chug it, even if it doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
I like my smoothies to taste good, but Kate also, she keeps it low on sugar. So she'll throw blueberries in there and that's about it. So
she throws blueberries in there.
Yeah, I mean, we know blueberries have a great flavor and they are great for brain function and keeping you sharp. So
nice.
That is breakfast for Kate.
We'll include these recipes in our show notes. So
yeah, and if we can find a link to anything, any recipes that go along with this,
and you can make Kate's breakfast smoothie and tell us what you think, and we'll drink it too.
Definitely. So Meghan, I said she likes green drinks. She is a green juice kind of girl.
I can totally see that.
And she keeps it pretty simple. So she usually mixes kale, spinach, apple, ginger, and lemon.
That is a really interesting combination.
It is.
And I'm not a kale person. I need to get on this bandwagon. I'm not there. I'm not there.
Yeah, I feel like you either like these things or you don't. I mean, again, with the aversions, I'm not a huge ginger fan. The taste is super strong to me, but we know that ginger has got a strong flavor, but it's great for digestion. It's great for nausea. Especially if you're pregnant and you have morning sickness, ginger can help calm your tummy. Or if you're on the go a lot and your nerves are crazy, it's good. And it's got some anti-inflammatory properties in it as well. And it helps ward off infections. So
Meghan, I'm sure Kate is too, but Meghan is so focused on wellness that I really trust actually both of these women and what their recipes are.
Yeah.
Obviously both really healthy, vibrant women.
Everything we've mentioned here, we know are superfoods and they're good for you. We also know both girls have eaten oatmeal for breakfast on occasion. Kate, especially when she's been pregnant and had morning sickness, it's something mild that you can eat on the go that's still healthy. And then Meghan loves acai bowls. So those are kind of like,
see that.
yeah, it's like a smoothie bowl with the acai berry, and you can put fresh fruit or granola or whatever on there. So that's a really great sweet option if you can't do the green juice.
I hear you. Okay, we got things to try.
Yeah, so moving on to lunch. They've got breakfast out of the way. Midday, Meghan has been known to say that lunch is typically her heaviest meal of the day.
Yeah.
And then she goes light on dinner, where Kate's lunches are really pretty light. Kate, doesn't really eat a ton of meat during the day. She saves that for dinner.
Okay.
And she really likes raw foods. So a typical lunch for Kate would be like a watermelon salad, or ceviche, or gazpacho, which is a cold soup.
I love ceviche now. Oh my gosh. I went to Costa Rica earlier this year in January before I couldn't leave my house, let alone leave this country. And I had, oh my gosh, the ceviche.
Yeah, I love ceviche as well, but it's funny. I don't think of that as a meal. It's like an appetizer
I'm like,
for me.
Kate, how are you not starving? Because you've had this smoothie. Okay, that'll tide you over, I guess. But I mean, I can't wait that late to eat.
Yeah, definitely. But Meghan goes a little bit heavier on her lunchtime meal. She has been known to say that she tries to avoid gluten. She has noticed that it helps keep her skin clear, and we know she has beautiful skin.
Beautiful skin, yeah.
And Meghan loves seafood. So a typical lunch for her would be like a salad with veggies or quinoa. Her diet to me really gives me the California lifestyle vibe.
For sure.
Which makes sense. I mean, that's her home state and that's her current state of residence
right,
now.
Right.
And so I just have to imagine that she is convincing Harry to kind of take on this diet too.
You read my mind. I was just about to say that, because when I covered Harry and Meghan's when they did that podcast, Teenager Therapy, and they took the full body photo, Harry is looking very trim. Now he's never had a weight problem really to speak of, but like he is looking fitter than I've ever seen him.
Yeah, I definitely think California has had an influence on him.
Oh, you can tell.
Meghan is also a big fan of avocado toast.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, I think a lot of Meghan's food we can all kind of relate to. I imagine her and Harry having avocado toast on the weekends for a late lunch.
The cook too.
Or a late breakfast, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she is. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned her cookbook.
And the roast chicken engagement.
Yeah, we're going to actually get to that in just a second. So moving on from lunch, when we get to midday, let's say they need a quick pick-me-up in the afternoon. I mentioned Kate likes to eat raw a lot during the day.
I hope Kate's having a mid-afternoon snack. Girl's gonna fall over if she doesn't.
Kate loves fresh fruit. She loves raw veggies, and actually one of her favorite things to snack on are goji berries.
I don't even know what that is, Jessica.
I actually got some in my refrigerator. Yes.
What, a goji berry?
A goji berry. Yeah, I usually put them on top of smoothies, but I mean, it's kind of like, it's like a really bright pink berry. The ones that I have, I think, are freeze dried. They're a little chewy.
Where do you get them? Just there at the store?
I think you can get them at Whole Foods. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the health food stores are
AKA like places I tend to avoid. I am not the lifestyle and wellness expert in the room.
We'll let you try some goji berries.
Okay. Well, I'll give you my honest opinion on them.
So Meghan's snacks are also, again, a little bit more relatable. She loves apples and nut butter. Almond butter, peanut butter.
I can do that.
And then Meghan is really big on staying hydrated. So she drinks tons of water throughout the day, and she does like the occasional kombucha.
Okay, which I've also never had. I need to get on it.
I drink kombucha on occasion. It's not something I drink every day, but it's like a fermented beverage. So also, again, good for your tummy.
Right.
They have lots of different flavors. It's a nice pick-me-up.
Okay.
I've actually
Does it have caffeine in it?
That's a good question. typically, I want to say probably
Okay.
not.
Uh-huh.
I have seen a lot of people recently starting to make kombucha cocktails.
Okay.
So they'll mix this. It's kind of got a fizz to it, and you can get
Uh-huh.
like berry flavors and stuff. So you
Okay.
mix it with your alcohol, and it's just kind of
Oh,
a
okay.
fun drink.
There you go.
All right, so dinner time. You mentioned roast chicken, and I said both girls are a huge fan of roast chicken.
Me too. I love roast
I
chicken.
will say that Meghan has been said before that she tries to limit her consumption of meat and animal products.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know she's not a vegan, but she tries to mostly avoid meat, and then she'll splurge on the weekends or every so often. And when she does, she'll have poultry or steak or lamb or
Yeah.
something like that. So like you mentioned, we know Meghan and Harry were roasting chicken at home together the night that he proposed.
Mm-hmm.
I think all royal watchers love that story.
The engagement chicken.
The engagement chicken, right? That should be in the cookbook.
I know, right? It should be in the cookbook.
And Kate also, roast chicken is a favorite of hers. So Kate is a very hands-on mom with the kids
Yeah.
in the kitchen. She cooks a lot of meals for her and Will and the kids. And she has also been known to let the kids help out.
I
So
love that.
George and Charlotte and Louis will help with kid-friendly dishes like macaroni and cheese, salads. And then one thing that Kate absolutely loves that I was so happy to hear, because it's a favorite of mine too, is curry.
Okay. Okay. I like the taste of curry. The smell of curry is very overwhelming.
I feel like if you don't eat it all the time, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It does seem very strong. But she loves spicy food. Now we know Will doesn't tolerate spicy food quite as well. I'm sure he humors her though and has curry when she makes it. But she loves to make curry and to eat it. So I was really happy to hear that. So dinner in the Sussex household, again, chicken, or we know Meghan loves tacos, especially fish tacos.
Meghan, you are my girl. I can't roll with Kate's full. Maybe someday, but me and Meghan, we can do this.
Yes. So and then we also know Meghan loves a good wine.
Oh, girl, yes.
We know her blog, The Tig, was named after her favorite wine, which I'm probably going to butcher the name, but it's I think Tignanello.
I was going to say good luck with that because I have no clue.
It comes from the Tuscany region of Italy, and she has been said before, if given the choice between wine or dessert, she will almost always go with the wine.
Oh, I'm you lost me there, Meghan.
I have to agree. I mean, I love a good glass of wine, but if it's cheesecake or something chocolate,
tiramisu or something,
I'll probably go for the dessert.
I mean, this better be a dang good wine,
right?
To get me to turn down some cheesecake.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that's kind of a day in the life of the Duchesses. When I was doing my research on this, I did note that both royal couples like sushi.
I love sushi.
Sushi to me, I will eat it when given the opportunity. It's not something I usually go out of my way to eat, but I do like it. And I know we won't anytime soon see the Fab Four out together, but I do like to imagine that at some point they had a double date at a posh sushi restaurant.
Man. In my wildest dreams.
I think that would be fun. And then I also wanted to note that the Duchesses do like to indulge a little bit.
Good, they're human.
Both girls love pasta.
Yes, Lord.
We know when the royal family gets together for holidays and they've got their desserts, Kate likes to indulge in those as well. And we actually saw a few weeks ago, Kate and William baked cupcakes adorned with poppies.
Yeah, they did. Okay, I forgot about that.
And they delivered those, and I hope that the kids helped with that, because I can imagine the whole family in the kitchen together. But
Kate's baked the kids' birthday cakes before.
She has, yes. She has been known to stay up late and do that.
I want to be Kate. Maybe it's not too late for me to be more like Kate.
But the cupcakes, they delivered them to nursing home residents who served in the armed forces.
Oh, I love that so much.
They were in support of the British Royal Legion's annual Poppy Appeal.
I love that.
So that was fun to see online. And that's my quick recap of a day in the life of a Duchess. If you want to take on some of those recipes for a week and give them a try, shout us out and let us know how it goes. If you have any favorites. And we'll link some recipes that we find.
See, that's what I love about Podcast Royal, is that it's the royal component, obviously, but it's also the lifestyle component. We're all trying to be better people, trying to be better women. And, you know, I'm sure we'll talk about this on the podcast, but I'm on a weight loss journey right now. I've lost about 75 pounds. I'm plateauing right now. So maybe I need to kick myself into high gear and try some of these recipes. But we're all just trying to, whether we're Duchess of Cambridge, Duchess of Sussex, or Rachel and Jessica, we're all just trying to be better every day and live a healthier lifestyle. So I will try those recipes.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Might even try kale.
Yeah.
Might even go crazy.
Yeah, I'll help you find some stuff to make kale taste better, because you know, there's a secret there too.
Awesome. Well, that is the lifestyle component. So that's the end of episode 1. Thank you so much for tuning into the debut episode of Podcast Royal. Some weeks it'll just be me and Jessica. Some weeks we'll have guests on the pod. Follow us on Instagram at Podcast Royal. Email us at hellopodcastroyal@gmail.com. And don't forget, please subscribe, rate, and review our podcasts so that other people can find out about us. We are so excited again to go on this journey with you. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.